welcome to Rucka VR. Today I'm going to talk about something that's a little against the grain in my community or the social circles that I know that create accessories for VR products, and some of which, including myself, actually sell 3D printed products. But what I want to talk about, and I want to show you how it's done, and I will show you after my little rant here exactly how it's done to create your own VR products. So to start off with, a little bit of public service announcement on what VR, not what VR, you know what VR is, what 3D printed products is capable of and what it needs, oh my God, what the fuck? First of all, you need a machine. Machines cost anywhere from a couple $100s up to thousands of dollars. And if you really get into it, we can even be breaking those numbers too. Filament can be costly depending on the fluctuation of the market. It goes up and down, up and down. It's anywhere from $20 to $100. I've seen $80 before, so $100 might be a little far-fetched, but who knows nowadays. You can buy filament of any kind. There's different types of filament that do different things. We got hard plastics, and there's soft and bendy ones, and there's flexible ones and everything else. So you can choose what type of plastic you want to make your 3D products. A lot of these plastics that I use are biodegradable. So by saying that, getting them wet is probably not the best option. These ones here that I sell, these ones are not biodegradable. They are a harder plastic and they're meant for that because of sweat and everything else that accumulates on your headsets. So this is probably not the best option, but for you, whatever you want. Maintenance of the 3D printers can be pretty costly too. They tend to break down. They're very, very finicky machines. Even being a millimeter out can cause a huge delay or a problem in your prints. So it is a very time-consuming and a very meticulous hobby, I guess I say, unless you own a business and you're actually doing it legitimately. Then for us who own businesses, we usually put kind of a percentage of what we would classify as default percentages. So for every 5 we do, or probably even more than that, maybe every 20 we do, 1 would be a default. Just because of anything. It could be humidity in the room, it could be the filament's not very good, whatever it is. But you don't know with 3D printing until the print is either done or if there's an error in the print and you got to restart. The last thing I want to say is the time that it takes to actually print something. One item could take a few minutes, and by a few minutes I mean about 20 at minimum. All the way up to hours and days. I know people who have spent somewheres of 8 days on a project, so it just keeps going until they're done. My recommendation for stuff like that is to do it in sections and put it together, because if it takes that long to do it and you have an error on the 7th day, you've now just totally destroyed your entire print. So I'm not here to go into the absolute logistics of how this all works. I'm not going to go into how to fix a printer and stuff like that. I just want to show you what's involved in this, and if it's something that interests you with making your own 3D printed stuff for VR, then hey, go do it. So let's get into it. Let me show you how it's done. All right, so right off the top, one of my favorite sites to go to is Thingiverse. Before I go into this, I do want to make something very clear, and that is that if you're going into things like this, make sure that you're doing this just as a hobby. You can contact the designer or obviously the person who made it and ask them if they are willing to give you rights to it. But for the most part, these are not royalty free. These are things you would have to pay for if you want the rights to them, but they are all free if you just want to make something for yourself. So if you want to make this example, a Quest 2 vertical stand, then by all means, you just go to Thingiverse, which obviously I'll put the link, can't even talk today, in the show notes, and you'll be able to go click on it and go to it. And then in the top in the search bar, just type in Oculus Quest. Yes, we all use Oculus Quest as a search term nowadays still, I don't know why. Anyway, go to Oculus Quest and then you can filter down through there on what you want. Once you've selected it, you can download a file. Once you've downloaded the file, then you go into another program. I use Cura. You can use whatever you want, and then you can put it into said program. Now, as you can see, it's showing up a little big, and I'm flying through a lot of this stuff because I'm not really, again, showing you how to do this. I'm just showing you what you can do. So we're gonna slice it, and then it's gonna come out with the time, how long it's gonna show. Unfortunately, my ugly face is covering that portion of the screen, so I'm gonna tell you, this item itself is gonna take 10 hours and 59 minutes, 89 grams, which is 29.93 meters of filament, and it's going to cost about $2.68 if I paid $30 for a roll of filament. So that gives you an idea of what you can make. That's just a regular stand. You can make things for your controllers, you can make things for whatever you want, but that's just a regular stand. It takes about 11 hours. Well, it does take 11 hours. Again, that's a sketchy one, because if you go through that amount of time, you may or may not get it up. But if you absolutely have your machine tuned perfectly, that should be no problem. So that is how you get your files. Let's go on how to design a file. All right, so sorry you can't see my whole screen. I have some tabs and stuff that I'm doing for business right now that I can't show you. So to break it down, what I'm doing right now is I'm showing you a very simple AutoCAD software called Tinkercad. This is one of the ones that I actually begin using right off the bat. It's very simple. It's literally drag and drop. You just put shapes onto here, and then you can manipulate the shapes onto whatever you want. So before I get into it, I want to show how I designed one of my products from start to finish. So these are other people's designs here. And what I found was a lot of these clips would break, or they didn't hold on to the actual headset hard enough, or they were having issues with the holes. So what I did was I designed my own, mainly by taking little circles here. I'm not sure if you can see it. Yeah, you can. Putting the circles wherever I wanted them, cutting them out, making other circles, adding in different shapes to make these parts here, and then cutting them out as I wanted to. So it was a very simple process. I also had to worry about infill and everything else, which is the strength of the material that we're creating for whatever product. So if I'm creating something similar to this, I need to make sure that it's strong, because obviously if you're doing a lot of wear and tear and bending, you obviously don't want them to break. So there was a lot of, I guess, thought that went into how am I going to design a clip that worked effectively for whatever environment these headsets are being used in. So I wanted it to be in a very commercial environment, and also you have to worry about sizing, the clip size here. So I use a lot of little, I think I have one right here. I know I do, because this is my drawer. So we use calipers, a lot of calipers. These things are all over the place here in my room. So I'll check the sizing of everything to make sure that it's accurate to whatever it is, and then I'll build it in. Everything usually works in millimeters, small size that I work in, and it just gives you an idea of what you can do and manipulate any type of thing to build whatever you want. Now these are a little bit more complex, and you probably could do it in a 3D design like this, but I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend doing this in like a something different, say maybe Blender or something. And now if I'm getting into Blender, I'm getting into more sophisticated tools that you can manipulate shapes and polygons into that would help you.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you quickly. We've taken the card, we put it over here, we brought it to one of the printers. We're going to go print from card. We're going to pick which one we want to print. Click on that. Now we should edit the heat, which is here, and the table, which is here, but we're not going to do that right now. I'm just showing you exactly how it does.
So now that I've gone through how to do your own 3D printing, let me know what you think in the comments, and if it's something that's helped you. If not, again, you can support the people that you support on any of your VR accessories. But this might help if you just want stuff around the house, or you really want to start designing your own stuff. So as always, hope you enjoy this video. Stay safe. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and catch you on the flip side. Peace out.